Hello and welcome. On behalf of Trinity Community Church, we hope you enjoyed the Children's Ministry at Home series for the month of April. This week, we would like to explore an overall view of the Bible and how it's put together. There are 40 authors that wrote the Bible over the course of about 1,500 plus years. But yet, not one word contradicts another or argues with it. That's because the Bible was inspired by God. So the overall structure of our Bible is it is divided into two major parts. It is called the Old Testament and the New Testament. And all total, there are 66 books in the Bible. There are 39 in the Old Testament and 27 in the New Testament. A way that will help us remember that is there are 3 letters in the word Old, 9 letters in the word Testament. 3, 9, 39 books in the Old Testament. Now, the New Testament has 3 letters in the word New and 9 letters in the word Testament. But what is the New Testament about? It is about discipleship, spreading the good news, multiplication. 3 times 9 equals 27. Now, the Old Testament is divided into 5 sections, and in each section are a number of books. In the first section there are 5 books, in the second there are 12, in the third there are 5, 5 and 12. And that's an easy way to remember it. 5, 12, 5, 5, 12. Say that with me. 5, 12, 5, 5, 12. The first section of the Bible is called the Books of the Law, or the Pentateuch. Penta meaning 5, Tuch meaning rolls. And they didn't have books like we have today. They would take their writings and roll it up into a scroll and tuck it in together. So a way to remember that is 5 rolls tucked in together, Pentateuch. And these 5 books of the Books of the Law, or the Pentateuch, lay the foundation for us to understand the Bible in its entirety. In it, God reveals His holiness, the problem, which is sin, and the glorious solution, which is a Savior is coming. Now, the Pentateuch consists of the 5 books we mentioned, and they are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Now there's a little story that we put together to help you remember these 5 books.
The Pentateuch, an adventure. Once there was a girl named Jen and her sis. They were just hanging around with their friends when all of a sudden Jen's phone rang, and it was her mother. She put the phone down quickly and exited us out the door through the yard. She left it because we were in such a hurry. We knew it was her mother calling by the numbers on her cell phone. As we ran out the door, the dew dropped on our 12 history books. But this is not the end. The story continues.
can remember, the first 3 historical books is saying Joshua, Judges, Ruth. That can make a sentence. Joshua judges Ruth. As we know, Ruth was King David's great-grandmother. Well, along came a man named Sam. Sam was the one who blessed or anointed David as king. Sam had 2 mules, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. And on these mules sat 2 kings, 1 Kings, 2 Kings. And in each hand, the king held a chronicle. It is like a newspaper. At one time, when kids wanted to sell newspapers and make money, they would yell, "Ezra, Ezra, read all about it." And we'd take our newspaper and we open it up to the first page, and it says, Nehemiah. Nehemiah said, "I'm Nehemiah Hammer to rebuild the wall in 44 days. Then we turn it to the people section and see that Esther was made queen of Persia. This is another story about a girl that God used to save the Hebrew people. Then we turn it over to the want ads and we find ourselves a Job. Joshua judges Ruth, 1 and 2 Samuel, 1 and 2 Kings, 1 and 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther. Now, go find yourself a Job. This takes us to the next section of the Bible, the 5 books of poetry and wisdom. We have developed another story that will help us remember the names of these 5 books. They are Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Song of Solomon.
Poetry and wisdom. If I could only have a job where I could only be sitting with my banjo in the shade of a large psalm tree, I would proverb my songs to come more easily than they'd leave. But who knows if I'd even sing them as easily as Steve. Sitting by the rapid waters, I've written many that were jammin'. Giving it enough of time, I may even write a song of salmon.
Which now brings us to the prophets. There are 12 major and 12 minor books of the prophets. Our 5 major prophets are Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, and Daniel. They are not major prophets because of the length and the amount contained in their books. Now, we have another story that we will tell you that will help us remember the 5 major prophets.
Now here is a story about friends who bring helpful news. I say I wash off the germ of my hands before I eat my lamentators. Are they easy to kill with soap? Just ask Daniel. And of course, the story does continue.
Wasn't that fun? I encourage you, practice the song over and over again until you learn all of the books of the Old
And New
Testament. Now, this will be your assignment for next week also. Replay the video, remember the stories, remember the cues, and then know the song. And when we come back together again, we will sing our songs and we will have a big celebration. I can't wait for that. We love you and we'll see you soon.